Hey everyone, this is Isaac here, and welcome back to Isaac Reviews 2022. Last year, I reviewed the animated Disney Plus adaptation of Diary of a Wimpy Kid. As a longtime fan of the books and movie trilogy, the product we got was honestly one of the most empty film experiences I've had in quite some time. That, and given how the long haul movie turned out, it reaffirmed to me that not even the author of the book seemed to have a firm grasp of what he wrote, which is pretty disappointing. And yet, somehow, even before it came to Disney Plus, a sequel was already announced to be coming the following year based on the second Diary of a Wimpy Kid book, Rodrick Rules, the subject of this review. The original movie adaptation is easily my favorite of the Wimpy Kid movies, thanks to how it takes the already great elements of the book and adds more to it, especially with the relationship between Greg and Rodrick. Sure, Rodrick bullies Greg a lot, but sometimes siblings just argue. I'd know that firsthand thanks to my relationship with my sister, but that's neither here nor there. Anyways, even if the two of them don't get along all the time, they'd still be there for each other because, at the end of the day, they're family. But here we are now with the Disney Plus adaptation. I was already sure it would suck, but there was one tiny thing that really grabbed my attention. This marks as the final acting performance from Ed Asner. Yes, that Ed Asner was in this movie as Grandpa Heffley, but I'll circle back there when discussing the movie. And what did I think of it? Well, I guess it was a tiny bit better than the first one, sorta? Yeah, no, I'm sorry, this movie was still terrible. Like with last year's Wimpy Kid movie, its biggest problem would be the execution of the script. Despite being 20 minutes longer this time, it still feels like it's just skimming through the important stuff just to get it all over with. I mean, it literally starts with Greg's parents leaving and Rodrick setting up his party, skipping over other events from the book and live-action adaptation, such as Greg being on the swimming team over the summer and hiding in the bathroom and wrapping himself in toilet paper for insulation, Greg getting rid of the cheese touch by passing it on to a new student, and detailing some of the tricks Rodrick would pull on Greg. Even if there are a handful of book-accurate scenes here and there, for the most part, it just feels rushed, and Greg and Rodrick's bond as brothers and friends feels very underdeveloped, especially since it's mostly centered around blackmail and lying. I mean, their conversation outside the big talent show is kinda nice when taken out of context, but then it goes on ahead and guts one of the few selfless things Greg did in the live-action movies, participating in Rowley's magic show in exchange for Rodrick to rejoin his band, since he was originally not allowed to do the talent show due to being grounded. Here though, Greg just doesn't do the magic show with him altogether, which just felt really scummy of him. Well, alright, we're off to a pretty bad start. Can it at least be one of those movies where I can just mute it and enjoy the animation instead? Unfortunately, no. The first Disney Plus Wimpy Kid movie also had some bad animation, where I get that it was trying to go for a style akin to something like Captain Underpants, but it just looked really low quality and choppy. And that also applies to this one, but somehow it looks even worse. The character animation is extremely choppy and wooden, where the characters basically move like short-circuiting robots, except for the loaded diaper performance at the talent show where all of a sudden it looks pretty smooth, but then it goes right back to being wooden when Susan gets on the stage and starts dancing. Also, the 2D animation is genuinely some of the worst 2D animation I've ever seen in my life. Seriously, it's so choppy and janky that it makes the Loud House movie look like a Studio Ghibli film. So the writing sucked, the pacing sucked, the development between our two main characters sucked, and the animation really sucked. Was there anything here that didn't suck? Well, I brought up Grandpa Heffley earlier and how it's Ed Asner's last acting performance, and although we don't see him much, he was definitely a highlight here, especially the really nice scene he had with Greg where he talked about Frank's backstory and how he drifted apart from his brothers due to their rough relationship and how Greg shouldn't let the same thing happen with him and Rodrick. That was a genuinely sweet moment, and I wish there was more stuff like that as opposed to what we got instead. So, in conclusion, Diary of a Wimpy Kid Rodrick Rules on Disney Plus is even more proof that 20th Century and now Disney definitely should have laid this franchise to rest after the Dog Days movie. Outside of that one nice scene with the grandpa and some okay voice acting, everything else was just terrible. For any fans of the books or movies, the original 3 that is, please just stick with those. They're much better and much more worth your time than this. I wish I could go on, but at this point, I just don't care. And something tells me that the people making this movie didn't care all that much either. Well, I don't want to end things off on a bad note, so next time on Isaac Reviews 2022, I'll be taking a look at Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. Alright, now this is what I'm talking about. After getting the disgraceful live-action remake of the Disney classic and...
Father, when can I leave to be on my own? I've got the whole world to see.
It's good to finally be getting an adaptation of the classic story this year by someone who seems really passionate about it. And yeah, this movie looks fantastic, so I can't wait to see what Del Toro and Netflix did with this one. Anyways, thanks for watching this episode of Isaac Reviews 2022. Be sure to like and subscribe for more content like this, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!
Ha ha ha!